Welcome to Born on the Bayou Sports, a Houston sports show made for Houstonians by Houstonians. Join Tim Costello and Scott Barzilla every week as they break down the latest in Houston Astros, Rockets, and Texans news. Tim's a former minor league broadcaster, and Scott has written 2 books on the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, if Javier could get it figured out, it would make things a lot easier because he was that guy everybody was counting on this year to be a Cy Young candidate, take that big step forward and help anchor this rotation with Fromber.
Since he's come to Houston, you can look at the development of guys like Carlos Correa defensively, Jeremy Pena defensively. I mean, you can Alex Bregman's, certainly I think a better than average third baseman.
And now you're putting teams in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. Now here comes Will Anderson. Pin back your ears, let's go. So if you're Bayou born and bred, or just like spending time in the H, sit down, relax, and stay Houston strong. Welcome back to the show that suffers through way more Astros baseball right now than the average Houstonian. Scott, how's it looking? How's it hanging?
Well, I was just laughing off air, when we were going through the opening. I'm watching it on the At-Bat app, and so I say a silent damn to myself that they're hit, and then I hear Janet in the other room about 15 seconds later, damn. It's like, there you go, the Fubo, that 15-second delay.
Yeah, I was FaceTiming with my mom, and so I watch on Fubo as well. May or may not still be using your account. And she has, I guess, Xfinity in Houston, and so she's typically like 5 seconds ahead of me. And so, yeah, it's kind of frustrating in those situations. I typically just hang up. But sometimes if it's just her, I can get her to pause and then hit play at the right moment.
All right, there we go.
So we're lined up. But yeah, welcome in, Scott. I think you said you actually have an opening question for us this week. What do you have as a way to kick us off?
Okay, a little work situation here, Tim. I'm assuming, have you gone through requisite corporate sexual harassment training, different spots?
I mean, like, I haven't done anything like TV makes it look like where you watch this video where like, oh, can't say that. Like, I mean, you have a fucking slideshow to click through and take a test at the end, I think.
Well, I did watch one when I was teaching in Deer Park, where the narrator, his name was Tab Lloyd.
I got it. Nope, I got it.
I'll let you sit with that one. So I had this kid at work, and I'm, of course, not going to say any names or anything, right? But I have him 2 classes a day already. So that's number one. But first class, he just comes up to me and just goes. Then he sits there and goes.
Okay.
And that makes that, how you say to a dog,
you're being catcalled.
Being catcalled, but he repeated.
Okay. Essay. Did he give you like a hey essay?
So, according to your sexual harassment training, do you think would that qualify as sexual harassment?
I mean, it's definitely harassment, right? Like, I definitely think it's targeted harassment. I think in the environment that you're in, it will not be considered sexual harassment because it's man on man, and that's just not taken as seriously. But that's not a conversation for a sports podcast. So yes, Scott, I do think that is sexual harassment.
Okay, just throwing that out there. So I don't know which disappointment you wanted to kick off with first.
Okay, I guess that was the opening question. Yes, Scott. The opening question was, did Scott get sexually harassed at work today? And the answer is yes. Scott, let's start with the Rockets because the Astros may be less disappointing if this game wraps up positively.
I see that.
It does. Okay. So let's go Rockets first. They are fucking Cancun bound, And already there seems to be two very distinct messages coming out, right? Number one is this team is going to run it back with a healthy Fred VanVleet and hopefully a healthy Steven Adams and try to improve along the margins, but I hope you like what you see because they're coming back. And then narrative number two, I think coming less from Houston sources and more just from general NBA sources are the 13 teams are interested. Here's some possible moves for Durant that are available. Here's Durant's preferred teams. So I definitely think that we're in for an interesting offseason, but I think questions need to be had, right? Like it seems like it's just assumed Ime is back. You got fucking outcoached by JJ Redick, who had a banged up team, didn't have his best player, didn't have his third best player until the final two games of the series. You let Luke Kennard fucking not play defense until game 5 of the series. Like he didn't bring his A game. Questions should be answered about Ime Udoka, and we can't just assume, okay, a healthy Fred VanVleet, another healthy season from Durant, which that alone can't be assumed, and a healthy Steven Adams, and we were there. Were we though? Would you feel ready to go gung ho against fucking OKC right now, Scott?
Well, two things. I got to push back against you on one thing here, Tim. If you're an upperly mobile millionaire, is Cancun really the destination of choice that you're going with? I've been to Cancun. It's a nice spot, but
I love Cancun.
I think there's some other places around the world, maybe Spain or, some, other spots that would just,
Why? I mean, that's a great point. Why is the joke that like, okay, you're Cancun bound? Why guys not like they're going to Montego Bay? Like, I don't, why is it Cancun?
But secondly,
is it the all you can drink bar for one included? It's got to be the fact that you can just get fucking plastered because it's all inclusive. Maybe that's it.
I'm gonna go with but the underrated one, we're going back to Alaska this summer. I mean, that's a nice cruise that we
but
did.
You don't need to drink away the fact that you just blew the season. You're going to have a nice, relaxing trip. They're going to forget about the fact that you traded for Kevin Durant, got bounced in the first fucking round.
That drink package can be pretty affordable. You can get pretty toasted with the drink package. What I will say though, the second thing I was going to make, and you've heard the term Schrodinger's cat, right?
Flirting with what?
Schrodinger's cat?
Yes.
Is Fred VanVleet Schrodinger's point guard? I mean, I feel like he's not there. And there's a lot of, well, if he was there, we'd win 60 games. And it's like, really? Is Fred VanVleet that good? I mean, I like Fred VanVleet, but I don't think he's pushing you to the number 2 seed. I don't think him and Adams are pushing you to the number 2 seed. I don't think he's pushing you past San Antonio or OKC. So my response to that is, you're going to how are you going to sell me on let's just run it back? Okay, Udoka's already said no changes in the coaching staff. So that's out. There's no like, I'm going to bring in a good young offensive mind, to help me out. So that possibility apparently is out. And, maybe they make a swing at a superstar. Like I've heard Donovan Mitchell mentioned. I've heard, obviously Kawhi has been mentioned. Obviously Giannis has been mentioned. But do any of those guys by themselves change your trajectory enough to get you past OKC and San Antonio?
I mean, depending on what you have to get up to go get them, right? Like I have to see what the fit of the team is. So I guess the answer is no by themselves then, right? Because it's depending on fit.
Well, it's depending on fit, but you cannot trade. you're not going to be able money wise to trade. I'm going to trade Amen Thompson and a bunch of shit and maybe some picks and bring in Donovan Mitchell. That's not happening. That's not feasible. It's not. I'm going to trade Aaron Holiday, a Kobe, and maybe Reed Shepherd, and we're going to get Giannis. I mean, I don't think that's how this works. You're going to have to trade Jabari or probably Alpi to get one of those guys. I mean, at least. And I've heard the bidding on Giannis is both of them. So, I mean, is that really making your team better?
No, I don't think so. Right? I can understand moving Alpi for the right package. Right? I could get it because I do think his style of play doesn't suit being a third option, right? Because if you trade Jabari and 2 firsts and Reed Shepherd and you go get Donovan Mitchell or you go get Giannis, he's the third option, right? Like those two guys aren't deferring to Alpi because Alpi is also a black fucking hole sometimes. Like he gets in this mode where he's like, I have to win this game. No one else can do this but Alperen Sengun. Sengun will free the Rockets from no championship. Like that is literally how it feels sometimes. And he just goes through these stretches in games where you're just like, that's a bad shot. That's a bad shot. That's a crazy fucking shot. What are you doing? You're wide open for 3. Why don't you take that? Nope, we're going to dribble in, spit around, take a bad fucking fadeaway instead. Like, does he make some of them? Sure. But, like, if you're sitting there just grading on a scale of smart shot, bad shot, more times than not, he dribbles himself into bad shots.
Well, I feel like the worst thing that happened to him, and I don't know exactly when this happened, but people started comparing him to Jokic.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, maybe that stuck inside. I got to be Jokic, which I'm sorry, there's only one of those guys. And, you could be the best Alpi, which to me, there's a lot of things I like about Alpi. I think Alpi brings consistent effort at this stage in his career. I think everybody out there, minus the guy that obviously wasn't playing, gave effort. I don't think they gave up. They were,
no.
they
got out fucking coach. Like it looked to me, Scott, like Ime said, hey guys, great game 5. Don't worry about a walk or anything because we're going to do what we did again. It worked. No changes. It worked. And it looked to me like JJ Redick said, hey, here's what they did in game 5. Here's a little tape study. Here's how we stop it if they do it again. And as it was happening, it was like he's like, oh my God, they're doing, oh my God, they didn't make any changes. Like, oh my God, okay. Like, oh, it's worked. Okay, oh my God. Like, it's like if you found the other coach's playbook in the parking lot and you're like, there's no way, it's fake. It is no, and then it was real the whole time. Like, that's what it was. It was. We didn't do anything different. We tried to just do what we did in game 4 and game 5. And to me, that's a travesty, right? Like, can you find things that work and add more of that in your game plan? Sure. Right. But like, we have no half court offense, Scott. We don't have a system. We don't do anything exceptionally well on offense, and especially when Kevin Durant isn't on the floor. Like, our system is just, we play hard. Oh, fuck. Okay, cool. Well, you're the NBA. You should play hard.
Okay, Tim, I know you're a big fan, so I'm going to walk you through this analogy. How did Rocky beat Apollo Creed in Rocky 2?
He switched to being a right-hander. And then once Apollo got comfortable, he switched back and hit him with the left again.
Where's our switchback? See, to me, I can almost get the idea of, hey, we won game 5 this way, So I'm going to come out swinging just like I did in game 5. But at some point, you got to figure, okay, this shit ain't working. We need a counter punch. Where's my counter punch?
No, and that's just coaching in general, right? Like, hey, here's what we want to do today. If they take this away, here's how we counter that, right? Like there was just nothing in general. There was no, oh man, they stopped my plan. Guys, why didn't we hit more threes? Why did we shoot it better? You know, and they could all say, well, we shouldn't have put ourselves in that position. You should have won game 3, right? You pissed that fucking game away. But again, that is coaching to me, Scott. Like, yes, it's a young player, all that can be said, but you made changes in, you put Jason Tate in, he turns into a 4-point, all that stuff happened. This series happened the way it did in part because Raphael Stone never got a point guard, in part because Ime Udoka got outcoached, and in part because you didn't have your best player. Right?
I feel like the offense, I mean, to me, Udoka's answer, and his answer in the press conferences as well, we're going to have Fred VanVleet and Steven Adams back. I have no doubt that if you got a healthy season out of both of those guys, this year you're probably maybe a 57-win team.
No, 53 this year?
52.
52, so you're picking up 5 wins?
I think between them. I think so.
That's fair.
You're still
probably even more with down the stretch how many games we blew not having a point guard.
Yeah, you're still the 3rd seed. And so to me, I think if you're going to run it back, the whole thing is I think there's some tough conversations that have to be had. Fertitta's got to get his butt on a plane and come back here from Italy. And he's got to sit down with Rafael Stone and Ime separately and said, like, what's your plan? Okay, so we need to get better. How does that happen? And so if Ime's answer is, well, let's just get healthy. We've seen that with the other team in Houston. That plan doesn't work. You got to have something else. And to me, I could sit there and listen if you want to sit there and say, hey, let's get a Donovan Mitchell, pair him with Kevin Durant, and let's see what happens. I could see that being persuasive. It's not saying it'll work, but I could see it being persuasive. I could see, hey, let's get a big man who's more consistent, and plays more in a team concept like Giannis, maybe a better passer and better rebounder and better scorer. And let's build around that. I could see somebody talking us into that, saying it's going to work. But to me, you cannot sell me. We're just going to bring everybody back just the same way it was, and it's going to be fine.
I tend to agree with you, and I don't think that it ends at the bench. Decisions were made throughout the year on the idea that you can play this season without bringing anybody in to play the point guard, that you had the solutions in-house. And whether that was the right decision or not, that's up for Tillman to decide, right? Did Reed get some great development this year? Absolutely. Do you see yourself winning a championship with Reed Sheppard as your starting point guard? Probably not.
But you know what I heard, Tim? Do you know who they compared him to? And the reason why they drafted him over Stephen Castle?
Who they compared him to?
Yes. The Rockets.
Nash, maybe?
Yes. Do you see Steve Nash?
No.
I see Steve Kerr. I mean, I see,
I don't think that's a bad. I could see why they see that, right? And maybe if you go look at some of Nash's early career footage, I don't know, but Nash wasn't a shoot first guard.
No, he never will. I mean,
Nash deferred a lot. He never scored 20 a game in a season in his career. Even his MVP years, he was like 19 and 12 or 11 assists or whatever it was. So, I think Nash was an excellent 3-point shooter, and I think there are elements of Reed's game there, but to me, I see Reed as a JJ Redick coming off the bench. Like, he's a weapon for sure. But you don't win a championship with that guy as your starting point guard. And I don't think I don't know if it's Fred VanVleet. I don't know if it's, would you trade our pick and Reed for a top 5 pick this year to go get Kingston Flemings and go get a true point guard who's a little bit more athletic than Reed, a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more of an all-around defender?
Yeah, I
don't
would.
know.
Yeah, I would. But I think my problem is with Reed Shepherd. If you believe that he's Steve Nash, you know where Steve Nash began his career?
Phoenix, right?
I think it was Dallas.
I thought he went Phoenix, then to Dallas, then back to Phoenix.
Maybe. But the whole thing is, you're right. He wasn't Steve Nash until D'Antoni went there.
I mean, he had some nice. He was a good player with Dirk Nowitzki his last year or two with that contract, but he wasn't an all-star until he went to Phoenix. I think that's fair.
Well, my point though is that, would you say that it probably took him a good 4 or 5 years to become Steve Nash?
Yeah.
We don't have 4 or 5 years.
No, I tend to agree with you.
I mean, if this were a 13-win team and you draft him 3rd overall and you said, okay, this is our point guard of the future, we're going to grow together, you would go through a season with him playing 35 minutes, struggling on defense, having games where he would go 6 for 18 and say, like, we're going to deal with this because we think the good stuff is going to come. You don't have that luxury. He's got to produce. He's got to, and he did in the time you gave him, because he wasn't really a point guard. I mean, you put him out there, but you really had a point guard by committee. And, you had him as, mostly your off-ball shooter, which is what he is. But he does have defensive limitations because he's only, 6'3", 6'2"?
Yeah. And he's not as laterally quick to stay with some of the faster guys in the league. Does he have fast hands, and can he make up for some of it with a quick steal like he had on LeBron? He's got good instincts, absolutely. But straight up, if you've got to stay in front of a really fast 2 guard or really fast and physical 2 guard, which is where he's playing off-ball guard, he's going to struggle with that.
And the question you got to ask then, and this is where I think Tillman Fertitta has to come in. Explain to me how you saw Steve Nash. Explain that to me. Because I don't think I don't know if no other scouts in the league saw that. But I think the vast majority didn't. I think the vast majority saw a kid who is a good shooter, could be a great shooter, and has good athleticism for a white guy. I think that's what most people saw.
That's how you saw it, though.
And that's a 25 to 30 minute player who is a valuable piece in the NBA, but is that worth the 3rd overall pick? Especially when you have a Stephen Castle on the board. So to me, if you're Tillman Fertitta, that's when you're having that conversation where fell stone, that's a question. Of course, the question is, why did we punt on the season? Why didn't you go out and get a point guard once Fred VanVleet went down?
Oh, Raphael answered that question, and that'll be addressed later in the show.
Well, I know, but I'm talking about Tillman Fertitta's got to get him privately and said, you need to explain that to me. And you need to explain to me why Dorian Finney-Mixon and not another point guard. Why Clint Capella is not used. Is it because Clint Capella got fat, or is it because Doku just said, I don't want to play this guy? We
needed him in that series too.
We need answers to those questions.
We absolutely needed Capella in that series against the Lakers. Like, it makes no sense to me at all that he got as limited minutes as he did when we were struggling on the boards the way that we were. So I agree with you. There need to be some questions answered, and the idea that Udoka can say there's going to be no coaching staff changes, and he's the one who gets to make that call is fucking insane to me, Scott. Like, Stone's got to be in the other room going like, oh, he can't make that. He's not the one who gets to say that. Or they one of them's got to go. I don't see a world where this combo wins an NBA title. I really don't. I don't think that they are world championship class together. If you want to tell me that Udoka's a great coach, okay, then Stone sucks and he didn't set him up for success. If you want to tell me that Stone's a great GM, okay, then Ime Udoka is a bad coach and didn't use the roster properly, right? Like, there's no way you can tell me that this is the plan that these two put together and it worked out this way, and I'm supposed to believe, like, yeah, this duo should continue to work together.
Okay, so last question I'm going to ask you on the Rockets. If Espada and Dana Brown are together, watching the same show, what show are Udoka and Rafael Stone watching? Because they're not talking basketball.
It's got to be something like Game of Thrones, where like they're both like playing chess moves. They're like across the board. Like they're both trying to make their way to King's Landing, and it's more of like a race to get there first versus, finding a way to get there together. Because the thing with the Espada and Dana Brown is like they're watching fun stuff together, right? Like Love Island,
Euphoria,
whatever, Euphoria. They're binge watching good TV together. Where I feel like with Stone and Ime, it's more conniving, backstabbing. They might even just play D&D.
I can't picture Udoka playing D&D. I'm sorry.
Oh, I can.
He seems like I'm too cool for that.
Who says D&D is not cool, man?
Oh, I'm saying he's saying that. That's I'm not saying anything about D&D, but
I mean, I've never played, but it kind of looks like it would be fun.
All right. So,
all right, Scott. Astros time.
Astros time.
Well, we are coming off a win, so I don't know how hot today specifically is, but I gotta think, Scott, that seat for Joe Espada is going to continue to get hotter. These decisions that he makes today, he got away with it with running King out there again for a second inning, but he's continued to do that.
Well,
he has continued to put guys like Ryan Weiss into the game that had no business going into the game. He's got a starter of fucking Okert the other day. Like this, I understand injuries are a factor. I get it. And that's why Dana Brown should be on the hot seat too for how he handled the search for a new trainer. But for both of them at this point, Scott, the seat keeps getting hotter.
Well, not only that, I was going to say not only pitching King an extra inning, but pitching Lambert an extra inning. He had 91 pitches coming into that seventh. And so, and I was like, I don't think this guy's pitched this many pitches this year.
In his career. It was his career high at 101.
So, and he got really lucky with that double play at the end of that inning.
Yeah, he did. He tipped it perfectly, actually, to Altuve.
So, yeah, it worked out for Espada tonight. To me, there's a lot of things about this team I don't know. And how do you have two guys go down in batting practice 2 days in a row?
That's a problem for me.
I'm trying to understand it. Somebody's got to help me understand it. Thank God Nick the Stick Allen came back tonight. He got a hit. So, you can talk about your Dubon all you want, but we got Nick the Stick Allen. So we're ready to go.
No, I mean, Scott, we talked about how frustrated we were when a guy like Jake Myers last year is allowed to, go out and try and play a game where he was fighting through an injury and he gets hurt in warmups, right? Now you've got two guys who get hurt in batting practice. And we've talked about the process of getting ready to play for the Astros is, I don't want to say non-existent, but compared to some of the other teams in the league, the way that we ramp up for games seems significantly less than some of these other teams. And now you've got two guys, I get it, accidents happen, but this is like last year was a freak season, right? Oh my God, most injured. Now we're on pace to beat that, I believe, right now. And that's the pattern at this point. There is something going on with the way that we handle the preparation for the season, the way that we handle, call it treatment or recovery of, just regular bumps and bruises of a major league season, right? We don't handle that well if we're putting ourselves in position to be injured in batting practice. And then our get back fucking procedure is terrible. So that seat's got to be scorching hot for Dana for the way that he's handled that.
Okay, so I'm going to preface this by asking the question. Did you happen to see the line on Ime's rehabilitation start tonight?
I did not know. Please tell me it's better.
Technically speaking, yes.
Oh, God.
So we go 3 innings. So not 2. We went 3. Only gives up 1 run.
Okay.
5 walks.
Oh, God.
60, I think almost 70 pitches.
How many Ks?
I think 4 or 5. Something like that.
I mean, the 5 walks is definitely troubling.
So my problem is, and this is why I have to point the finger at Dana, something terribly went wrong there. Because we saw a guy that had great stuff. We saw a guy that came in and said, I'm signing here because I want to beat the Dodgers. So I want to join the Dodgers. I want to beat the Dodgers. That's what this kid said. How did we go from that to, well, my food, I'm not getting food in the dugout. I don't want to get food in the dugout. I want to get at the hotel. I don't like the mound. I don't like the ball. They didn't put a lettuce on my burger. Man, the sushi was a little watery. Where are we? I mean, where did this come from? And to me, what was the process to get this guy ready to pitch in the major leagues? I mean, when pitchers or catchers are reporting what? Mid-February? Early February when you have the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah.
You have 6-7 weeks to prepare for a major league season, and you're still fumbling around with the baseball? Maybe going like 7 or 8 days in between outings wasn't a terrific idea. Maybe not. I don't know. Just spitballing here. But somebody has got to answer for that, because you just spent, was it $19 million a year?
Yeah, he's definitely opting in now.
I mean, now, well, unless he wants to go, we make his life miserable and trying to get him back to Japan. We start buying sushi at the gas station. Say, like, this is the best we got in America. Here. Sorry.
I mean, he probably has a car, Scott.
We start, paying off the DoorDash guy to get the wrong food. I mean, I don't know what happened.
What if you went to McDonald's for the first time here, and he's just like, "What the fuck? This sucks! Like, McDonald's in Japan is so much better. Like, KFC is so much better. I can't do this. Like, the fast food here just fucking blows."
Somebody told me that the surf and turf at Denny's was good. I don't understand. But in all seriousness, somebody's got to answer for it, because it's either Brown or Espada or both. We're responsible for how you ramp this guy up, for how you worked with them, who you got to interpret for them. Because I don't know if you sent me this link or I read this link somewhere else, but Kikuchi basically said that that's not what he said when he was reading the interpreter's comments. I almost halfway expect that, Amaya was saying, my arm hurts. And the translator, well, they didn't put a lettuce in my burger, and the mound's a little funky, and I like eating at the hotel rather than. And it's like, and Kikuchi's like, what the fuck? He said one sentence. Why are you throwing all this shit in there?
So much about Habasapa. He's like 27 minutes later. He's like, and yeah, that's it. But then Dana Brown's just like, yes, he didn't say arm pain. Okay, good. But it's I don't want, if it wasn't my team, it's laughable at this point.
Yes.
Right. Like, but it's your team. So it fucking sucks because I was at the Texans game where Amai's introduced and everybody goes fucking crazy. And like, I wanted this guy to be good. I want the Astros to be able to scout foreign markets and get players that way because I do think Amai has good stuff. I don't think this is an Amai failure. I think this is a Houston Astros failure. I specifically think it's a player development failure. We don't do a great job with our minor league system, Scott. We don't have tons and tons of homegrown talent coming up through the system right now, right? Like you've got the Shea Whitcombs of the world. Zach Cole's got pop, but he's going to hit 225. Cam Smith was traded for. He was brought up somebody else, and he was barely out of college. Bryce Matthews is your one, like, quote-unquote shining star. Salazar worked your way up through your system. Great job. Like Blue Ball. These are your blue star prospects. So we don't exactly just churn out great fucking talent right now through our minor league system. So these are things we all should have looked at when we signed a guy from Japan. But I think, the Dodgers, I think the Mariners, the guys that came over, they made it look easy. Like Ichiro made it look easy. He got here, he just fucking started hitting. He hit his whole life and then just went away. Like nothing changed.
Well, the thing is, I think the makeup is also very important because not every Japanese import has succeeded. Would you like me to introduce you to Daisuke?
Daisuke had some good moments.
He had moments.
I mean, he had like his first two. Daisuke Matsuzaka's first 2 or 3 years in the league, I think, were quality. And then after that, I do believe it went downhill. But
and there's Mr.
I'd kill for Daisuke right now.
Mr. Anal Fishers.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
But the point is that or Noriaki, he was a former Astro.
How dare you slander my man Nori Aoki? Fucking World Series champion ring holder Nori Aoki.
Yeah, he's along for the ride. But but the thing is that you're importing people into another culture, and you're doing this. His trainer had visa issues, couldn't get over here. That's an issue. And if you can't rectify the issue by bringing his trainer over here, you best go find this guy a trainer that he trusts. I don't understand. If you're going to invest $19 million in a guy, what's an extra $500,000, to outfit him with, the best interpreters, the best, personal coaches, the best trainers? It's just ridiculous.
No, I agree. We were talking about that today at work with just protecting your investment, right? If you're already going to spend $45,000 on a sponsorship, why not spend the extra $5,000 to make it really pop? Why not spend that? If you're going to spend that much money, $19 million on a pitcher, why not $100,000 on the best visa fucking attorney that you can find and just get his guy here? Just go get a fucking immigration lawyer and get the guy here. Like, I don't understand why you would just be like, hey, the system has to work itself out. Fuck that. Protect your investment. There are many billionaires who would gladly spend half of their money to protect the other half, right? Like that's a common trope. So to me, the idea that you're just like, man, we couldn't get this guy over here. Let's go down to the University of Houston to the Japanese Studies Department and see if there's a sophomore or so looking for an internship credit. And I bet that'll work out for translating. Let's just go to UH, offer an internship to the Japanese department. If it didn't work out, there's plenty of them. We'll just go to the whole class. We'll figure it out. It'll be a fun time.
All right, Tim. Are you ready for that time of the show?
I am ready for that time of the show, Scott. Let's give some awards away. Who are you punching in the face this week?
Okay, I had a specific guy in mind, but you reminded me that we probably shouldn't target certain
We've
people.
got a little something in the works in the background that our listeners viewers will eventually really enjoy. We don't want to blow that up by saying we want to punch him in the face.
So I am going to pivot and mention one Jaylen Brown. Now, you know who Jaylen Brown is, I'm assuming.
On the Celtics.
Yes. Do you know why I'm punching him in the face?
I don't actually.
So after their series with Philadelphia, which Boston blew a 3-1 lead, by the way, he came out with a 10-minute video outlining all the times that Joel Embiid flopped and said that there should be an investigation into the officiating because the fix was clearly in. Jaylen, I say personally, from everybody who hates everything Boston athletics, fuck you.
Hey man, you gotta kill that time on the flight to Cancun. You go ahead and put yourself a video together.
Could you imagine where you have air turbulence where he's like,
yeah, man, you get yourself a little mouse. You a little mouse. He's probably on the PJ. He's still got Wi-Fi, and he's just just like one of us in OBS putting together his clips. Maybe he's using Substack. I don't know. I don't know where he puts his material together. But no, that's a good one. It's petty. It's petty, right? Like, oh, you can't beat me because I cheated. That's fucking that's pretty petty.
All right, who you got, Tim?
It's a tough one, Scott. There's so many punchable people this week, but they're also horse's ass worthy people. I'd like to punch a group of people. We're in me and my chair spinning in a circle again. CJ Stroud contract extension people. It's just getting ridiculous, right? I'm just, 2-3 months ago this guy's got to be traded, all this other stuff, and now it's if you don't extend him, you're crazy. Half the team, and it's just Emmanuel Acho, all these guys, these former NFL players, these current NFL players weighing in on should CJ Stroud play, get an extension. I'm just over it, Scott. Like, I don't care at this point. CJ's our quarterback this year. That's where we're at. He looks like he's in great shape. That's great to see. I'm tired of every single pundit in America weighing in on if CJ Stroud is worthy of a contract extension when just months ago they all were saying the Texans should consider trading this guy. And it's just nothing's changed. No snaps have been played. He cut his fucking hair and worked out hard. That's all. That's it, right? Like, guy slimmed down and cut his hair. Why is the conversation completely different now?
See, and I actually wrote a piece today for Battle Red Blog where count them with me here. Do you know how many Pro Bowlers we have on this defense?
Okay, Anderson, Hunter.
That's 2.
Aziz Ashir.
That's 3.
Stingley.
That's 4.
Lassiter.
That's 5.
And then on the other side, no, that is Lassiter. So in the back end, you've got the safety.
No, I don't think Kalen Bullock made it. But
he didn't?
Would you say he has Pro Bowl potential?
Oh, yeah.
So
then Petrie's a Pro Bowler.
Petrie, that's 6. So
Okay.
would you say that we potentially have 7 Pro Bowlers on defense?
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, Kalen Bullock and Kamari Laster are up for extensions because they're only 4-year contract players because they're not first-round picks. So after their 3rd year, that's the prime time to give them their extension. You cannot pay them extension money and pay CJ Stroud at the same time. You can't. There's no possible way. So is it reasonable to say, hey, I'd rather have Laster and Bullock
Yes.
and just have a kick-ass defense? 7 Pro Bowlers on defense. And that isn't even counting that Caden McDaniel could become a monster and be an 8th Pro Bowler. I mean,
and Reed Blankenship.
Well, I don't know if he's going to be a Pro Bowler, but I think he'll be certainly a.
He has been of that level before, right? So if he could, it's not unrealistic to say he could return to Pro Bowl quality play.
Yeah, solid performer, right? And then you got Henry To'oTo'o, who's been, I would say, solid. You got EJ Speed, who's, I would say, solid. And you drafted 2 linebackers. So to me, the idea of keeping this defense together and saying we're going to hold you to 15 fucking points, do the best you can, is to me a pretty sound strategy if you want to go that way.
No, I don't disagree. And either you go to CJ and say, hey, 25, 30 million a year, or we ship you out and we go the Sam Darnold route.
That's what I'm. That's.
But I mean, Darnold made $40 million last year, so let's not act like he was cheap.
Yeah, I mean, you could go like Baker Mayfield route, where was Baker making like what 35 million?
Yeah, I mean, I would give CJ Baker Mayfield money. I would give CJ Darnold money. I just don't think he deserves $60-70 million. I'm not giving you 45% of my cap. I'll pay you you'll be well paid, but I also don't think anything has changed at all, Scott, right? Like we haven't played a single snap. We haven't done anything. We drafted and we didn't draft a quarterback. So why are all these same pundits who were trade CJ, you can't win without him, he just cost you the Super Bowl? Those same guys saying, or half the teams in the league would kill to have CJ Stroud. You have to extend him. So I'm just over the flip flop just to make sure that we can talk about it. Whatever, fill some airtime today.
All right, moving on to the horse's ass, aka we want them out of town. Okay, I am going with a repeat offender, Ime Udoka. Particularly for this week, I'm not making any changes to my coaching staff. This theme is going to come up, Tim, later on in a special part of our episode. But the most important thing to go into the philosophy world. Do you know why Socrates said he was the wisest person in Athens? Did you ever read?
Because he knew that he knew nothing and he was willing to ask questions.
Absolutely. Bing, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Although he would say, I don't know, tell me.
You have to, as a coach, you have to know what your limitations are. When I coached volleyball, I was really good at coaching defense. I knew defense back and forwards. My girls would like, hey, teach us some trick plays on offense. And it's like, I don't got that in my wheelhouse. I can teach you to play defense. And I taught them the hell how to play defense. And we competed. We lost, but we competed. I don't, but as a coach, if somebody came in and wanted to be my assistant and said, I know everything about offense, I'd be like, shit, yeah, come on board. Help me out. I don't understand this idea that, I don't need anybody. Fuck. You have to watch enough basketball, watch enough times that this team broke down late in games, including game 3. Watch the number of times when you get into a half-court set, this team doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Oh, let's pass it to KD and everybody get out of the way and kind of hope that he can make a bucket. Well, how did that work out for you when he wasn't available in 5 out of your 6 games in the playoffs? So, I'm sorry. I would make an ultimatum if I were Tony Fertitta. I would say, like, you are hiring the best offensive assistant coach we can find, or you're fired. Period.
I tend to agree with you. That you made little to no changes until like game 4, and then when he finally found a little something that worked, he was like just kept doing it and do it and do it until finally that got stopped. Then he had, as you said, no counter. I think he did a nice job of resetting the Rockets culture. I do. You have to admit, guy turned this franchise around. We were a terrible organization. Young guys were, not learning how to play the right way, not learning what it meant to be an NBA player. Fine. We're not winning the way that we should have won this year. This team should have won more games than it did. And part of the reason why is my horse's ass, Raphael Stone. I want him out of town as well, Scott. I don't know if you saw his comments about why he never went and got a point guard. And basically said, what do you want me to do? Go get a guy who can get 10 or 12 assists a game but can't shoot the basketball?
Yes.
Yes. But also, why is that the only option? Why do we already have that guy? And amen. We already have a guy who can't shoot. Russell Westbrook was the guy in his mind that he probably thought we were referring to. But yeah, Scott, you're right. Yes. We wanted you to go get a guy who could confidently have the ball in his hands in clutch moments and distribute it properly to make sure that the offense flowed the way that it's supposed to. Guys got touches when they need to get touches. There was a reason this offense never seemed to flow this year. It's because it was always out of rhythm. There was no one to make sure that, KD hasn't had a touch in a minute. Let's make him. Oh, Jabari hasn't had a shot. Ooh, amen. Got to feed him. He's cutting. Ooh, Reed's open. There was none of that. There was I would kill for a Rajon Rondo. I don't need you to shoot. I would kill for somebody who took 0 shots that had 12 assists. I would fucking kill for that.
Are you kidding me? I would have killed for Rafer Alston.
No, Skip to my Lou would have been great right now.
And
Aaron Brooks.
And that tells you how bad. Well, Aaron Brooks could shoot, but I mean, just give me
somebody could shoot.
Give me. Well, yeah, but he wasn't like Brooks was like elite level shooter at his best.
Oh, yeah.
And Rafer was, I would think, functional. I mean, he was a functional point guard all the way around. Give me a functional point guard.
He was a good enough shooter to get off the fucking N1 mixtape tour into the NBA. You don't do that without shooting it well. But either way, any of those types of players would have been an improvement. Fucking Mike James, 10-day contract for Mike James would have been a nice improvement at the point. But then it comes out Harden wanted to get traded here mid-season when it wasn't working out with the Clippers. There's a fucking point guard. He can shoot. So the options weren't just 0 jump shot with all assists, in the creator slide. There were options out there. There were options throughout the season. You could have moved Tari Smith when his value was highest. Instead, you held on to him, and he's probably gone, and you got nothing for him. And at the end of the day, you can tell me this team wasn't going all the way with the way it was built without Fred VanVleet. A backup point guard wouldn't have saved anything. But I also think there's a lot of things that Stone has to answer for. Why did you spend the money you did on Clint Capella? Why did you bring back Jason Tate and Aaron Holiday? Why are they taking up roster? Why is Jeff Green taking up a roster spot at this point in his career, who played next to no minutes this season? Why are we doing these things when there were positions of need everybody saw, and you didn't address that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And to me, so for instance, a guy that was available, because I could see not wanting James Harden. I could see it. I could see you sitting there saying, I don't want that. That's a can't. Because to me, that's a great question for another day. Who's the biggest clubhouse cancer, James Harden or Kevin Durant? I mean, that's kind of a battle. How did a super team with those two guys not work out. Gee, who would have thought? But in all seriousness, Mike Conley was available. Mike Conley is the Jake Taylor of basketball. I wish we would have had him 4 years ago, but he would have been functional. He would have been functional. He was on the buyout market. It just
Russell Westbrook was a free agent right before the season. Westbrook would have been fine, right? Like I guess maybe the Durant beef is part of the problem. I don't know, but at least Westbrook can handle the basketball, and just Westbrook averaged a triple double, which means 10 assists a game. I'll take 10 assists a game. Would you?
Oh yeah. I mean, you just don't want him shooting threes.
And I tell him going into the year, don't fucking shoot threes. We've been through this before, Russell. You've been here before. You know the rules.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If both these guys got fired and we started over, it would not hurt my feelings.
All right, Scott, let us tip a cap.
I'm going to do a joint one. I gave you mine, but that was before tonight's game.
See, I was going to tip my cap tomorrow.
Okay, I'll let you tip that one. Mine's going to be Brian Abreu. Because to me, that Sunday game, he pitched 2 innings, which why in the hell is he pitching 2 innings? But okay, never mind.
You know why? You know why?
Let me leave that aside. But would you say that was, considering all that he has been through, maybe his gutsiest performance as an Astro?
Yeah. I mean, it was.
I mean, he's pitched better.
He's pitched better. Yeah.
He's pitched better. But considering his ERA was like, what, 11 or 12 coming into that one.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he can go through 2 innings, including having the Manfred Ghost Runner, and still
hit a batter and walked another one, too.
It was retaliation for Walker, Tim. Come on. You know that. Day late, dollar short, but that's okay. But anyways, right? Gutsy performance. Came back the next night, pitched another scoreless inning. Now, is Brian Abreu of old back? I don't think so. But could Brian Abreu 6th, 7th inning kind of Brian Abreu be a functional reliever? Yeah, I think he could. And if you add him to Okert, who I think is, I mean, if he's not the opener, has been pitching okay this year. Brian King's obviously pitched okay this year. Tang's pitched good. I think Bluebaugh, if you use him correctly, pitches well. And then if you add Abreu to that, your bullpen, it's not going to make anybody forget 2022, but that's not terrible.
No, but I think at this point, Tang should be starting. So take Tang out of it, because Tang's a better option than somebody. But, Jace Alexander's coming in. Ryan Weiss is out, so that definitely helps. Weiss is hot fucking garbage. Seuss is back in there. I mean, if you look at who has been at the helm for a lot of these really, really bad blow-up games where it gets out of control, there's one name that kind of is there multiple times. It's fucking Ryan Weiss. He had some blow-ups, and numerous of them. He had one good start that makes you think, oh, maybe here we go. But other than that, it's been some hot fucking garbage from the guy from the KBO. And yeah, so it's looking better, addition by subtraction.
Game 1 didn't bother me nearly as much as that game in Colorado where we're up something like 4-5-0, and then give up an 8 or 9 spot,
yeah,
something like that in that 1 inning.
Yeah,
it's like, good Lord, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
And last night's start almost felt like we're going to throw you 130 pitches. Your arm's going to fall off and go, oh, guess we got to DL them. Sorry. I mean, that seemed like one of those, because he almost threw 100 pitches. I mean, that's almost malpractice, but it's what we come to expect from Joe Espada.
Worst bullpen manager in baseball. I'm going to tip my cap to Peter Lambert. Guy's 29 years old, Scott. Finally, getting some run here at the major league level. He last pitched around, I think he's 20 or 21 the last time he was in the major leagues. He's pitched in Japan for a minute. He was fantastic tonight. Absolutely fantastic. Held the Dodgers to no runs across 7 innings. He's got a 2.45 ERA on the year. These are the kind of guys that help stabilize your rotation. These are the kind of finds the Astros had last year when it was Walter, when it was Alexander, when they were just churning out random good start after random good start. You're like, who the fuck are these guys? But let's go. That's kind of where Lambert is, but the opportunity is there for him, right? Like the way Amaya is struggling. Are you in a rush to get him back out of AAA, or do you maybe keep him down for a little bit and say, hey, let's figure this thing out before we get you back up there?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is, I think when people want to criticize the lab, I think our hit percentage on pitchers this year is probably similar to our hit percentage in years past. I mean, I would say Lambert's a hit.
It's the fucking walks, man.
I would say Tang's a hit. I would say Arrighetti is definitely a hit. And so I think you've got guys that kind of came out of nowhere that you weren't expecting this from, who've done the things. The problem is that you didn't have the guys on the front end of either the bullpen or the rotation to sit there and say, we know we can count on these guys in leverage, or we know we can count on these 3 or 4 guys in a rotation to give us good innings. We just need 1 or 2 guys that can kind of leak us through. Right now, we're trying to leak through with 3 or 4 guys in the rotation, and probably just about everybody in the bullpen is I hope this works. And some of it has, and some of it has not. I mean, I would still say King has been a find over the last 2 years. I would say Okert minus the opener has been a find.
I mean, he only gave up 1 run.
Yeah, I mean, he got 2 immediate outs and then just kind of couldn't get out of the inning. But I'm going to wait and see if Sousa can bounce back. But, he was good last year. So you've got guys that are performing that shouldn't. You just have way too many guys that you're like, well, here's 10 guys. Hope they all perform. Here we go.
No, definitely a little bit too much huffing their own farts on that. All right, let's keep it moving. We've got a lot to get to this evening. Let us do our scumbag.
I'm gonna go with the older story.
I was extending it, Scott. It was a little bit of panache.
Panache. I'm gonna go with an older story, Tim, but it's a goodie. I am sure you were following the Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel story.
Okay.
Were you following that story?
The affair?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I mean, she resigned from the Athletic, and I'm going to go 2 directions on this scumbag. So number one, her coming out and basically saying like, I just resigned because this is just too much negative attention. I didn't do anything wrong. And so she gets a scumbag vote from me. But I am sick and tired of people like Diana Rossini taking the bullet. And what has Mike Vrabel gotten from this?
He missed day 3 of the draft to attend some couples counseling in Utah with his wife.
That's rough.
Yeah.
No professional blowback whatsoever. And I get it. He was just coaching his team in the Super Bowl. So, if they had gone 6-11, I'm sure that he would have been shit canned. But this is, I mean, again, double standard. But Diana Rossini came out pretty weak in trying to sit there and say I didn't do anything wrong. Own up. I mean, reports are that she was actually with Vrabel even before she met her husband. So did she cheat on Vrabel or did she cheat on her husband?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But it does explain how she was able to break certain stories the way that she did. Like she had one that said so and so is heading to New England, and then like deleted the tweet, and then because it was before the tampering window was over, and the guy ended up signing in New England, and so I think that's more why she gets in trouble, because there's a journalistic integrity standard to it. I mean, the NFL is a protect the shield at all costs. So I think they just hush it up, man. I really do. But the S and D to get some insider secrets, like it's not the first time. It won't be the last. And you know what? It got caught, and then you just kind of deal with the consequences and move on.
All right, Tim, who you got?
I think I'm gonna go non-political, Scott. For those of you who don't know, I've been kind of embroiled in a bit of a political battle here in the city, as the Heinz company, not like the one that makes ketchup, Hines, Heinz, is trying to buy a plot of land in our city, 72 total acres, right across the street from what's called the Grandscape. The Grandscape includes Nebraska Furniture Mart, Shields, putt-putt golf, movie theater, tons of restaurants and bars. It's an entertainment district. And they try to turn it into like industrial fucking like warehouses and stuff. This is the only land left that's undeveloped in our entire city. And it's kind of like right at the entrance to the main part of where people come to visit the colony. So I, along with 4 or 5 other citizens, took the mic today and kind of stood up to corporate fascism and beat back the billionaires, as we were able to convince our city council to vote it down. But the reason they're scumbags is the person that they sent, Scott, was just so goddamn fucking condescending, where he literally stands there and says, I just don't understand why everybody doesn't like this. Like we all told you why we didn't like it. Like, you don't live here. You're sitting here. It's like Job, where like every time in Arrested Development, we talk about a suit, it's more expensive. Like, you're gonna tell the guy in $1,000 suit that? You're gonna tell the guy in a $5,000 suit that? You're gonna tell the guy in a $10,000 suit that? Right, it's the same suit the whole time. But that's the vibe that this guy had. And he's literally talking about this area being very misleading on a map, talking about how there's already industrial warehouses built there. So what's the big deal? Well, the area where they're already built a different city. Like, I'm sorry that the fucking line exists and we don't have any in our city and other cities do, but you just sat there and tried to mislead everybody. And, it was just really frustrating that we had to go to this length to keep our city the way it is now. I'm thankful that our council people listened to our input, our vehemently opposed input. But it's just insane that our beautiful little city by the lake, we've got to fight off fucking billionaires, man. So fuck you, Heinz.
Well, I love your, fascist corporation. Isn't that kind of like Tiny Shrimp?
Is that kind of like what?
Tiny Shrimp.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, I'm with you. And like I said off air, the people should have been carrying you out on their shoulders.
Maybe if I would have stuck around long enough, I don't know. Because like, there's also this one guy who's another developer who owned like a pretty significant parcel of land that he's building out into like neighborhoods and stuff, who doesn't want it there. And so he personally thanked me for, as a citizen, stepping up and saying something. But the guy said, like, the only way, also he talked about flooding. They're like, it would have to be like 100 years storm to cause flooding from building this. And I'm like, I'm from Houston. I've, in my 36 years, lived through, I think now 500-year storms. That doesn't mean shit to me. Like, you telling me it'd have to, like, Harvey was a 100-year storm. The Memorial Day flood was a 100-year storm. Allison was a 100-year storm. Ike was a 100-year fucking storm. What was the other one after Ike? They were like paired right next to each other.
Oh shit! You're gonna make me.
Either way, right? Like,
we evacuated.
Yeah. But either way, right? Like, we've lived through plenty of 100-year storms don't, and they're only going to get worse. I'm not going to sit and talk climate change in a real estate plot development meeting. But if we want to go that route, we could talk about how, the storms are going to get worse. So either way, win for the little guy today. It's just frustrating that I had to sit through a 2-hour meeting. And that this person kept getting extra time to come back up and like belittle everything we said. But you know what? Again, Scott, at the end of the day, fucking eat a dick, man, because we won.
Yeah. Win one for the little people.
All right, Scott. This is that moment of the show where if you do not like where we make fun of some of the stupid things that our administration has said this week, it's your opportunity to back out and just leave it at Astros and Rockets talk this week. If you do like that, it's time for the quote of the week. Scott, I'm relying on you to hopefully have last week's quote.
Unfortunately, I don't.
It was Trump.
But I will say that we have.
I had screenshots. No, last week I did screenshots.
We did. We are setting up a separate Trump category because, and I want to compare the Trump quotes that I have with last week's Trump quote.
Actually, no, I think we didn't. I think we went with Blanche.
Oh yeah, we did go with Blanche because
Blanche talking that evidence recovery is not
exact science. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right. Well, I've got Todd Blanche again to open us up with the non-Trump category. So are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
There's a lot of things we can be doing, like voter ID. Every time you walk into a restaurant or a club, you have to show your ID. How about you have to show your ID to vote? That's not anything that's crazy. So, Tim, you're an experienced worker in the restaurant industry. When have we ever shown ID in a restaurant unless we were purchasing alcohol?
That's the only time. You used to have to ask the ID for a credit card, but no one ever actually does that.
Could you sit there and go, okay, sir, before I give you your chicken parmesan, I'm going to need to see some ID.
Vodka sauce, huh? I don't think so. Not without showing me some ID, mister.
Which I love having this argument with everybody I had an argument with. And I have it I have somebody in our department. She is actually not from this country. And so she wanted to understand why the SAVE Act was bad. And I told her it's because it's a poll tax. Says, well, why is it a poll tax? So, well, if you have to show a passport in order to vote, that means you have to have a passport. Do you know how much a passport costs? And then, she, well, and I was like, you have to do this. And it's like, voting is described in the Constitution. Buying Sudafed is not described in the Constitution. That's a corporate policy. Probably a pretty good one.
I'd be fine. I'd be fine if they want to give us free IDs. Like if you want to make getting a driver's license free, fuck it. Yeah, cool. Or now I'm fine with it. So if you're really that upset that people don't show ID, then make it free. Make it free to get a driver's license, and then let's have this conversation. But you don't want to compare apples to apples. You want to compare apples to fucking zebras and then act like, well, the zebra meat was gamey. Well, we were here to judge fruit, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, they don't, because they don't want people voting. That's why. All right. So quote number 2 is from Sean Duffy, who is our Secretary of Transportation. And he was talking about
former real world contestant and Secretary of Transportation. Please continue.
When talking about Spirit Airlines, he said, I think it's important to talk about why we are here. Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg. Even though the CEO of Spirit Airlines said it's because the cost of jet fuel. Who caused the cost of jet fuel to go up, Sean?
Barack Obama, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting.
I'm sorry. Barack Hussein Obama. You got to say it right.
All right. So that's number 2. I got 2 more from the non-Trump category.
I have the winner for the Trump category. I already
Oh,
said
yeah, I
seriously.
include that one. I include that one.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
the winner.
All right. So Ben Shapiro says, everybody loves Ben Shapiro. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. Everybody that I know who is elderly, who has retired, is dead within 5 years.
That's an old one, but he definitely did say that.
It's an oldie, but a goodie. And maybe why are they dead within 5 years? Maybe because they are working until they're 65. You know, in Europe, they're not working that long. And maybe they're getting a shit ton of time off that's paid. And they're not working 40, 50 hours a week. Do I need to go on, Tim?
No, you don't. I can guarantee you, the moment I can retire, I'm not going to miss working. You know what I'm not gonna miss? Any more fucking putts, because I'm gonna be out there grinding on the fucking senior tour. That's what I'm gonna be doing.
All right. Well, some people might consider that work.
Nah, man, I'm not actually gonna make it. I'm just gonna try and make the tour.
All right. The last one is from a guy named Gary Peterson. Now, unfortunately, I have art with this one that you would need to see in order to solidify this vote. But you have Trump dressed up in Jedi gear. You have, and it looks like Jesus dressed as some sort of a Vulcan. And then you have Princess Leia, I guess, is Melania. So you ready for this quote here, Tom? May the 4th is also a celebration of President Trump. The kids today love the Star Wars.
Star Wars.
And not just Star Wars, the Star Wars. Because our president and Melania, much like the love of Luke and Leia, with their ensign Christ at their side, bring law and order to our country, which can be spread through the galaxy.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot to take in. First of all, the love of Luke and Leia, who are again brother and sister.
Yes, but those
what fucking Game of Thrones are we talking about here? Number two, I don't remember a single moment of Jesus Christ in Star Wars. I'm sorry, Star Wars.
No, but the one in the pitch, Christ here is pictured as a Starfleet commander.
So they're on opposite sides?
It's a crossover. It's not Starfleet, Star Trek.
Oh, so we got three. So you got three. Okay. So, okay. I think we have a winner, ladies and gentlemen. Who is this person?
I have no idea, but I saw this. I think I saw that at Jeff Tiedrich, his stuff, and so I had to download that. So you think that's our winner for the non?
That's our winner, Scott.
Okay, I can go along with that. Okay, let me give you. I gave another Trump nominee just for the fun of it.
Because you can't beat what I had.
No, I can't. But I just want for the fun, right? Quote, what a tragedy that he was treated so badly by the radical left lunatics, Democrats all. And he was right about everything. They cheated on the elections, fabricated hundreds of stories, did anything possible to destroy our nation, and now look at Rudy. So sad. Now, you know why I screamed, right?
Because he has all caps.
All caps, yep.
Who's he talking about?
Rudy Giuliani, who is
he's in the hospital.
Yeah. So, you know, it's our fault he drank himself into a stupor, and he's now he's now in critical condition. Now, I hate to make light of anybody being sick, but I'm sorry, it's not the radical left lunatics.
No, it's 70 years of poor life choices.
And it's right about everything, even though he was like 0-60 in court.
I mean, the man's mental decline has been happening since he booked the Four Seasons fucking lawn care instead of the actual hotel. Like, that's not exactly a sign of a healthy man. He got tricked into being in the Borat sequel, in a sexually compromised position. That's not exactly something a smart person does. All right, Scott, hit us with the good one, because I got some thoughts.
This is the one you said. Oh, I've got tons of thoughts here, Tom. All right. From Trump. No president has ever taken a cognitive test except me. That's quite the brag. I've taken 3 of them. One in the first administration. They're hard. The first question is easy. We have a lion, a bear, an alligator, and a squirrel. Which is the squirrel? End quote.
Okay. All right, let's break this down. First and foremost, he's bragging about the fact that no other president has ever been asked to take a cognitive test. This is a world where Ronald Reagan was getting his horoscope daily and making decisions based on that, where Richard Nixon was drinking himself into a stupor and asking for nuclear codes to blow up countries drunk in the middle of the night. None of those people ever were like, maybe we should check on this guy. But Trump, they're like, we should check this guy's fucking cognition to see if he actually is capable. And then on top of it, they needed to follow up that test twice to see the level of decline that has happened since that first initial test. So that's number one, by bragging you've taken it 3 times. Number 2, the fact that you say they're hard. These are baseline tests. They're supposed to just establish your level of thinking as a baseline. The fact that you think that they got hard is not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. And again, the fact that you're up there bragging about the fact that you are in a position as president of the United States where you legitimately have to take a test where you need to identify the squirrel out of a bear, an alligator, a lion, and a squirrel, and you think that's something the people of America are proud to hear, that their president can identify a fucking squirrel and a grouping of animals? So can my 3-year-old. Scotty can fucking pick out a squirrel. Congrats, Donald.
All right, so Donald Trump is what would happen if Dunning-Kruger jumped out of the dictionary and became a real boy. I mean, how do you... And for those of y'all that don't understand what Dunning-Kruger is, welcome to Psychology 101 here with Born on the Bayou Sports. Dunning-Kruger is whenever you don't know shit and you know so little shit that you think you know all the shit. That is Dunning-Kruger. So imagine, he thinks this is an IQ test, Tim. And it never occurred to him that it's not an IQ test. Because I don't know about you, but how many times have you taken an IQ test?
None.
I mean, I think I took one when I was a kid.
They're not real.
I mean, I took one like when they're, trying to figure out, should this person be in the gifted program?
Okay, I got into gifted and talented. So if that's the IQ test, then I guess I took that. But I'm not like fucking Peggy Hill getting recruited to Mensa thinking I'm one of the smartest people in the world.
Hey, that sting that she did on him was pretty damn good. But in all seriousness, no. Like, the stuff that this guy brags about, and that's my problem, is that he's too stupid to figure out that this is not something to brag about. I mean, like whenever I love the one that he had a quote today where it's like, I never knew, he never said I never knew. He said, most people never knew that Alaska was so close to Asia. Dumbass. It's like, what, 100 miles off the coast of Russia, which that part of Russia is Asia. What the hell? I don't, it's just, it boggles the mind.
What do you think would happen if instead of like Fox News, you put on Reading Rainbow? Like, and it's just like in Trump's office, you're just like, just take a look in a book, Reading Rainbow. And, the world would probably be a much fucking better place if the man sat there watching Reading Rainbow instead of whatever the fuck he's watching. It's insane, Scott. I do think you're right. I think he doesn't understand the difference of what a cognitive test is and the purpose of it versus like what an IQ test is. Because the way that he brags about the fact that he takes these cognitive tests, Like, if you're at a point in your life where someone's like, we need to check your executive function, can you please take this test to make sure that like you're capable of living on your own and handling your own decisions? We don't need to get an aid in this motherfucker. Like, that's where we're at. Like, do we need a home health aid? Can you wipe your own ass? Like, the answer to those questions is yes, you do, and no, you can't.
Well, and I'm sure Haley has told you these stories before, but like we had a kid today in class who was utterly convinced that tough was spelled Tuff. This is a sophomore in high school, Tim. And so,
fucking tough shed.
My problem is that, and I feel like, and I take a lot of pills in the morning, Tim. I don't know about you. I average probably 5 pills a day. Some of them have got to be giving me some weird side effects because I feel like I'm going crazy when I'm watching this, because I feel like I'm watching a third grader give a book report on the red fern grows and going, red fern, it was the best fern. It was the greatest fern, the reddest fern. My mom grew the best ferns. She knows everything about ferns. And there's a great book about ferns, and I recommend it.
What do you think about the dog? There's no dog. It was a flower book. It was, if anybody tells you there's a dog in the book, it's fake news. Everybody knows it was a book on how to grow a red flower. And if there was no dog, I like cats. Cats are better. Cats allow you to eat your food without trying to steal your food. Dogs try and steal your food. And saw a squirrel in the park the other day stealing food.
And to sit there and go like, if this is filibustering, fooling anybody.
His own meeting.
Like, I mean, and that's what I feel like watching them. That's what I feel. I feel like I'm taking.
I feel like that's also the only thing that saves us as a country from this getting worse than it is, right? Because if you look back at the history of fascist dictatorships, you had amazing public speakers, right? Like Hitler would rehearse in front of the camera for hours to make sure that his shit was buttoned up and on point and ready to go, right? Like Mussolini, fucking tough. It was all about machismo, making sure that the hand gestures and everything matched, and he was buttoned up. He was in a tight military uniform, looking extremely fantastic. And you've got, Putin, for example, another dictator, very, very strict about what he says in public, very buttoned up, doesn't just let things go off the cuff. Then you've got Donald fucking Trump, who literally will say whatever the fuck comes to mind, will call a press conference for one thing, and by the end of it, he's talking about picking a squirrel out of a group of animals. Like that, like it is impossible to take this man serious. This is what drives me crazy, Scott, is anytime you criticize him, it's Trump derangement syndrome and all that. The real derangement is that you cannot recognize this man is a fucking clown. He cannot stay on topic for a 5-minute fucking press conference without going down and talking about God knows fucking what. He can't be told an image is doctored without saying, I'm a doctor. Like, he can't. He is so.
You know what?
This man is. It is literally. I feel like. Do you remember the SNL sketch with Chris Farley as Matt Foley, the motivational speaker? Where he's like, they set it up where they're like, he's been down in the basement drinking coffee for 6 hours, so I think he's ready. He's fucking Matt Foley. If he wasn't the president, he'd be living in a fucking van down by the river because he wouldn't know how to get home, and he'd just stop there.
Well, you know what's going to solve this Iran problem? We need to talk about the size of Arnold Palmer's dick. That's going to solve our problem.
Hefty fucking cock that the king had. King Palmer was really, they called him the girth master, if you knew what I mean.
Wink, 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 nudge, nudge.
He used his penis to stir that iced tea and lemonade mixture. And everyone else used a straw. Arnold just stuck his dick right in there.
Oh, am I talking to the Boy Scouts? Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just gonna keep going.
Sometimes when you got a good bit, you can't fucking change it for the audience.
It's just, I mean, to me,
Or telling a bunch of like fucking 10-year-olds on Easter that the reason that there's a war happening in Iraq is Barack Hussein Obama's fault right now. Instead of just like, wow, that's a pretty Easter egg you have there. What made you pick blue? He's going, this fucking drone warfare is all Barack Obama's fault, kids. It's all the fucking black man's fault.
what? Yeah, but
Dad?
then you're hiring all these people. Like, most of the quotes tonight were from administration officials. I mean, it's ridiculous.
But let's also look back at it. One of the administration officials, the Department of Transportation, and I'm not fucking bullshitting you, was on the Real World Boston. He was on the fucking Real World Boston and is married to another Real World Las Vegas character. And I'm pretty sure they met at a Real World Road Rules Challenge reunion show, Scott. That's who's fucking running our planes, trains, and automobiles right now. That's it, right? Like, I love Pete Buttigieg? No, like I don't want him for president. I think he's a little too middle of the road for me. Do I think he did a pretty good job as a bureaucrat, as a secretary of transportation? Yeah, I have nothing negative to say about the job he did. And you know why? Because I didn't fucking hear about planes crashing. I didn't fucking hear about anything with the Secretary of Transportation because the job just got fucking done. We're not supposed to have news made by the cabinet members on a regular basis. It's pretty abnormal that your cabinet members are giving quotes this often, Scott.
I know. All right. So we got a couple of strong nominees. So that means next week that Tim is going to be on the hook to find a bad Trump quote, or
That's
two,
the easy part,
or three, and a non-Trump quote. And I have them saved. Don't worry, I've got it in my notes, Tim. So I'll have the winners next week from this week.
It was it's a heck of a task, but we're just doing our part.
That's right.
All right, folks, we appreciate everybody who joined us this week. It was a fun one. Astros got a good win. Hopefully get another one tomorrow. Fuck the Dodgers. I hate the fucking Dodgers, and I love watching them lose. We'll see everybody next week on Born on the Bayou Sports.